Hello and welcome. This is Notibot ENG. Tonight, we bring you a special report on the escalating tensions in the Middle East. Tensions have been rising between Iran and its allies following the recent attacks on Iranian nuclear facilities. We'll take a closer look at the latest warnings from senior lawmakers, the impact of the conflict on global supply chains, and explore how the war is affecting everyday life around the world. From snack packaging to shipping fuels, we'll break down the key stories you need to know about the Iran crisis unfolding right now. If a potential conflict between Iran and its regional adversaries escalates, Tehran is prepared to significantly escalate nuclear capabilities in response. Iran has issued a warning that it may increase uranium enrichment to 90% in response to a potential U.S.-Israeli attack on its territory. The threat comes amid escalating regional tensions since the U.S. and Israel launched strikes against Iran on February 28, prompting retaliation from Tehran. According to Ebrahim Rizai, spokesman for the Iranian parliament's Foreign Policy and National Security Committee, the country will review this option in the parliament. This warning is part of a response to a proposal by the U.S. to end the conflict, which was sent to Pakistan earlier this week, but dismissed as totally unacceptable by U.S. President Donald Trump. Regional tensions have been high since the U.S. and Israel launched strikes on Iranian targets, sparking retaliation from Tehran against Israel, along with U.S. allies in the Gulf. The situation has led to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, a vital waterway for global oil supplies. The latest warning highlights the risks of a wider conflict in the region. Iran's nuclear program is a contentious issue, and increased uranium enrichment would significantly increase its military capabilities. This development comes as talks in Islamabad failed to produce a lasting agreement, with the ceasefire extended by Trump without a set deadline. The crisis has significant implications for global stability and energy security. A wider conflict could destabilize the region and disrupt oil supplies, leading to economic and humanitarian consequences. The situation is being closely watched by international leaders, who are seeking a peaceful resolution to the conflict. As tensions in the Middle East escalate, a dire warning has been issued by a top Iranian official, fueling fears of nuclear escalation. A senior Iranian lawmaker has warned that if Iran's nuclear facilities are attacked again, the country could enrich uranium to 90% purity, a level just short of weapons grade. Ebrahim Rizai made this statement on social media, stating that Iran would review such a move in parliament. The warning comes as tensions between Iran and the U.S. continue to escalate. Iran, which insists its nuclear program is peaceful, has been accused by the U.S. of developing a nuclear weapon. One of Donald Trump's central objectives in launching a war against Iran was to ensure Tehran did not develop a nuclear capability. However, the U.S. withdrew from the 2015 nuclear deal with Iran, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, JCPOA, which allowed Iran to enrich uranium to up to 60% purity. The Iranian government has yet to hand over more than 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to this level, a short technical step away from weapons-grade levels. This has raised concerns about Iran's intentions and the potential for nuclear proliferation in the region. The U.S. has accused Iran of violating the terms of the JCPOA, while Iran claims it is complying with its obligations. The situation has been further complicated by comments from Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, who stated that the war with Iran would continue as long as the country had a stockpile of highly enriched uranium. The U.S. and Israel have been at odds over how to address the Iranian nuclear threat, with the U.S. pushing for diplomatic solutions and Israel advocating for military action. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a surprising move by one of America's largest snack food companies is now causing a stir nationwide. A global supply chain crisis has hit Japan's snack industry as Japanese giant Calbee announces a change in its packaging. The company will start using black and white packaging for 14 of its products, including crisps and prawn crackers, due to shortages in an ingredient used in ink. The shortage is a result of the ongoing conflict in Iran, which has disrupted shipments through the Strait of Hormuz waterway, one of the world's most critical shipping routes. The crisis has pushed up costs for businesses worldwide, with oil and gas prices surging since February 28. Naphtha, a byproduct of oil refining used in ink and plastics, is particularly affected. Prices in Asia have almost doubled since the conflict began, making it harder for companies like Calbee to maintain stable supply chains. Japan's Deputy Chief Cabinet Secretary, Kei Sato, has confirmed that around 40% of Japan's naphtha was imported from the Middle East before the war. The government is working to diversify its energy sources and reduce reliance on imports. Japanese Prime Minister Sanai Takaichi announced in April that the country would explore alternative sources for naphtha, including the U.S. However, this change will be felt by consumers, as companies like Calbee are forced to adapt to new supply chain realities. The impact of the conflict is being felt far beyond Japan's borders. Asian countries, which rely heavily on Middle Eastern energy and oil products, are particularly hard hit. The shortage highlights the fragility of global supply chains and the need for diversification in a rapidly changing world. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, concerns are growing about a potential shortage of a critical fuel for ships that could have far-reaching implications. The global maritime industry is facing a critical shortage of bunker fuel due to the ongoing Iran war in the Strait of Hormuz. The closure of this strategic shipping lane has severely disrupted the supply chain for one of the most essential fuels used in international trade. Bunker fuel, also known as low-sulfur fuel oil, is a heavy and dirty byproduct of refined crude oil that powers ships carrying 80% of global traded goods. Experts warn that a shortage of bunker fuel will have far-reaching consequences, including higher shipping costs, increased consumer prices, and significant financial losses for businesses worldwide. The impact will be particularly severe in Asia, which relies heavily on Middle Eastern oil and is the world's largest refueling hub for bunker fuel. In Singapore, where reserves are dwindling and prices are spiking, shipping companies are scrambling to adapt to the energy shock. To mitigate the crisis, Asian nations have adopted various forms of energy trade-off, including increasing coal use and buying more crude oil from Russia. However, these measures may not be enough to sustain the region's vast trade networks as energy reserves dwindle and government subsidies dry up. The United Nations estimates that over half of global seaborne trade moved through Asian ports in 2022, making the region a critical component of the global supply chain. As the shortage of bunker fuel continues to worsen, international shipping companies are exploring alternative fuels and revising schedules to reduce costs. However, some experts warn that not all companies will survive this energy shock, and the impact will be felt globally as trade patterns change and new supply chains emerge. As tensions escalate in the Middle East, a looming conflict could have far-reaching consequences for the global economy, particularly its major drivers. A war between Iran and its adversaries in the Middle East has had a devastating impact on global energy markets, particularly diesel fuel. The conflict, which began in January 2020, has led to the destruction of oil fields, refineries, and energy infrastructure in Iran. The effects on diesel prices have been severe, with U.S. diesel prices increasing by over 60% compared to last year. This drastic increase has significant implications for industries that rely heavily on diesel fuel, such as agriculture, transportation, and construction. Kuhn Wessels, head of demand and energy aspects, a London-based energy consultancy, describes diesel as the major driver of the economy. The fuel is used in everything from food production to heavy machinery and industrial processes. A shortage of diesel would have far-reaching consequences for global supply chains and economic growth. The war in Iran has disrupted oil flows, leading to a sharp decrease in crude oil exports. This decrease in supply has driven up prices worldwide, exacerbating the crisis. As the conflict continues, markets remain volatile, with many predicting further price increases. For the world, this crisis matters because it highlights the interconnectedness of global energy systems and the fragility of supply chains. The impact on diesel fuel is just one example of how a war in one region can have far-reaching effects around the globe. As the situation continues to unfold, analysts will be watching closely for signs of stabilization or escalation. That's all for tonight's news recap. We'll continue to bring you updates on the ongoing Middle East crisis, Iran's nuclear program, and its impact on global fuel supplies. If you'd like to stay up to date on these stories and more, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on social media. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next broadcast.